And today our guest is Jim Black of All Cal Financial, correct?
Good morning. Yep.
Good morning, man. You just got in late last night, you said?
Yeah, it's not an easy flight out here from California, but it's worth it. So.
And you lose time, right?
So we had daylight savings and lose time, and so it was really exciting to be waking up this early.
Not to jump off topic, real quick though. Last night, crazy story. I'm in the suburbs of Philly, and nice house in a cul-de-sac, and not a huge backyard, but there was a car chase, cops, right? Come up our cul-de-sac. I wasn't there yet. Drove through our backyard. I don't know how they didn't hit anything, and came back around. Right, I was with the cops all last night. But the daylight savings probably. I mean, knock on wood, our kids weren't out playing.
Absolutely.
If we didn't have it, they would have been out playing with some lunatic running around the backyard. But anyway, going off on a tangent. All right, so Jim Black, All Cal Financial, Santa Cruz?
Santa Cruz, California, yep.
Specific town in Santa Cruz? I know you said small town.
Yeah, it's Capitola, which is a small town, beach town.
Okay.
It's about a mile off the ocean, and it's about 60 miles south of San Francisco. So Monterey and Carmel are
60 miles south?
60, yeah.
Okay.
Monterey and Carmel are about 20 miles away from us to the south.
Okay.
So we're kind of in between San Francisco and Carmel and Monterey.
Okay, cool. 2 kids, you said?
2 kids.
Recent addition?
Yes, I have a 3-month-old and a 2.5-year-old, and an awesome wife.
Yeah. You want to give them a shout out? You want to throw out any names? Or anything?
Yeah, Zoe and Charlie. Zoe is 3 months old, and Charlie is 2.5. So it's awesome to be a dad. It's a little bit crazy with all the stuff we go through during our day, but that's the priority. That's number one.
So wife let you out here, right?
Yes. Yes.
Kind of.
Yeah.
And like you said, in our industry, a couple kids, and I'd love to dive into that more at some point.
Sure.
Because life balance is, it's tough in our industry.
Absolutely.
You have to be a little bit of a lunatic to be in this industry anyway, and then to have a couple kids, you're going crazy. But I love it. I mean, what's better, right? All right, so let's jump in. I want to know a little bit more about you. We know where you're at, Santa Cruz,
Capitola.
Capitola. You got the kids, you're out here. Let's dive into a little bit more about your business and how you got started in the industry as a whole.
Sure.
Forget about the broker so far for right now, but let's start from the very beginning. Like, why'd you get into the industry?
Sure. So I was luckily recruited out of college to be a trader on Wall Street. I worked for a company that got bought by J.P. Morgan, and J.P. Morgan Chase merged together. I was a trader like you see in those movies without some of the X-rated stuff. And
Right.
But it was a wild ride.
On Wall Street.
Wall Street, each trading floor, there's 3 real areas for trading: Boston, New York, and San Francisco.
Okay.
For the NASDAQ, which is those high flyer stocks back in the late 90s. So I was lucky to be a trader, market maker. There was over 200 IPOs that were brought public when I was working as an intern all the way through when I was a trader there.
What year was this about?
99.
Around 99? Okay.
2000, 2001.
Right after college?
Right after college,
cool.
Yeah. I'd go there every summer during college and do an intern. And at the end, I had a job. So
cool.
I graduated on a Saturday, started at 4 a.m. on a Monday trading.
Nice.
So it was wild. And what I learned about that job is it was fun, right? It was the most sexy job to have at the time. You push a button, you make someone millions of dollars. You push another button, someone loses millions of dollars. And the challenge I had, it was all institutional money. It wasn't dealing with people. It was dealing with institutions, Goldman Sachs, all the other high flyers that you hear their names all day long. And it got to a point where it was exciting. It was high flying, but at the same time, I didn't feel like I was doing anything of value. It felt like I was in a Monopoly game. And
Got it.
Most of my friends would think that because they made $5 million in a day for the company, they thought that was their money. So they would go out and do a $5,000 dinner or fly to Vegas during the weekday to be back at 4 a.m. the next day.
That's insane.
Just wild stories like that. So
what would someone make off? Is there a way to put that into perspective? If you made a company $5 million, like what does?
Yeah, you get bonuses at the end of the year.
Okay,
but it's very, very fractional.
Oh, so they're spending money that they don't even have and
Correct.
don't even know what they're going to have.
And most of these guys I was working with, I love them to death, but most of them just were from the East Coast mindset. Just grind, work hard, play hard. And that's awesome. I was the only guy on the floor from California, so it was a little bit different.
Did they give you a nickname like Sunshine or something?
I was Jimmy Black, and that was my nickname. So,
Jimmy Black.
Jimmy Black.
Cool. I like that.
So anyways, our company merged with J.P. Morgan and then Chase. Chase wanted to have a major trading floor with JP Morgan on Wall Street. So they requested that our trading floor from San Francisco relocate to New York.
Okay.
And at the time, I had some family members that were sick with cancer. And basically, I was given a severance to leave that industry. And at 22 years old, I was given a very nice severance and ended up buying my first house. And
Cash?
Not cash, not cash.
Had to ask.
I do have my Johnny Cash socks on.
Oh, I like them.
But anyways, I got out of the trading business, and as JP Mortgage closed down their trading floor, I was recruited by JP Morgan again to be in the mortgage business.
Okay.
One of the recruiters I'd become friends with, and she said, Jim, I know you know nothing about mortgages, but I think you should check this out. It'd be pretty cool for you. And it was 2002. So didn't know a single thing about mortgages and got recruited but by a guy that became my mentor. His name was Gene Mackey. And he brought me in. He goes, guess what, Jim? You're our new sales manager. And like day one, I'm like, what does that mean?
What's that
like,
mean?
So I got to be thrown into the fire. And I love the fact that I got the hands-on experience. I got thrown in there and basically figured it out. My second day on the job, he goes, Jim, I'm going to have you work on my loans with me, because he was the branch manager. So he gives me 2 files about this big with I think it was 16 partnerships, K1s, all these things.
Everything, right?
And he's like, okay, figure it out. I'm like, what? This is a little different than trading.
This is before Google, too.
Yeah.
Like, what are you supposed to do?
Exactly. So, I'd gone from the hustle and bustle of Wall Street to this figuring out these massive files and figuring out how they work. But luckily, in the first 60 days of my employment, somehow I miraculously closed $4.3 million of loans.
Nice.
And I think it was lucky because the timing was right. The rates had just dropped. They were higher back in 98, 99. And I was in a really good situation. So I got to learn really quickly by a lot of volume how to do mortgages. So that was in 2002. And we worked for a large bank. I won't mention the name.
Okay.
And it was a great experience, but what we realized is that the environment was changing. Web leads started coming out. Online stuff started happening. So I wanted to be in front of the opportunities that were available. So
what year was this about?
This is 2002, 2003.
Okay.
So some of the large banks were giving back leads to their loan officers. So we made a system around that where I sent out a letter. I even sent out business cards and a phone call. Very basic stuff before LendingTree even. Luckily, became very successful in that arena. And Gene and I would, he'd be the branch manager, I'd be the sales leader. And it was this really cool dynamic where he was the pathfinder and I was the kind of horse that he would ride on to get there.
I like that analogy.
It was kind of a fun experience. So we had a lot of fun times over the years. And unfortunately, in 2011, we sat down and he told me that he had a brain cancer.
Oh.
And he said, we went to Starbucks right next to our office, and he goes, Jim, I have brain cancer, and my family member that I mentioned earlier, he passed away of the exact same disease, from the exact same doctors, from the exact same hospital, everything, in a very similar time frame where, unfortunately, not a lot of time to live. And so I took that as just kind of a secondary wake-up call to make sure that what I'm focusing on is, it's great that I can do $150 million in business, but the priority is lifestyle and having a balance, right? Gene didn't have a lot of time ahead of him and was going to make the rest of his time count. And so I actually took a couple months off of work to really put things back in perspective because that was important. And so fortunately, I got to spend some time with him and enjoy the moments we had, and then just kind of reload and refresh and be like, you know what? It's not about being number one. It's not about making the most money. It's having that balance, the quality of life index, a lot of people call it. What's your quality of life index? And I always try to check myself on that. So, you have 3 kids.
Yeah.
And I commend a lot of people that can know when to turn it off and have that balance.
Yeah, but it's hard.
Absolutely.
I want to get back to the time frame, but before we do that, can we talk a little bit about that life balance?
Sure.
I mean, people in our industry, like we just said in the beginning, you have to be a little bit of a lunatic to be in it. But I think that's good because it's also, we're very emotional beings, right? And a lot of people I talk to in this industry have a lot of emotion, and there's something that keeps them in this industry. I think it has a lot to do with, yeah, the money can be very good, but there's always a goal in mind. There's always a way to be better each day, and that's what I'm feeling from you. You've had a lot of different things along your life, a lot of emotions there. Now you have the 2 kids. You talked about Gene, but you're staying in it, right? How are you working that life balance then right now?
Yep. So
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So I believe, again, I've had some great coaches along the way. I used to work with a company called Building Champions, and I was.
I've heard of that.
They're awesome. They're out of Lake Oswego, and they were one of the first companies that came around with the Todd Duncan group. They were separate but similar mindset, where it's just how to get that life balance, how to take a step back and make sure that you have things in perspective. And the first thing that I took from that experience was your core values are what it's all about. So if I do something in my day, like if I'm here right now, it's because it's in my core values of what I stand for. So I look at myself as having a set of core values, and I'm only going to let things in my life that fit those goals. So 24 hours a day, I'm the same guy. I have a passion and an energy for being myself. Sometimes it can be overwhelming because I'm pretty energetic. And, if you follow your core values, you really can't go wrong.
So when did you decide to make your core values? Like, how long did it take to write them down? When did that occur?
Sure.
And how's it going? I mean, obviously it's going much better than it was before.
Yeah.
But when did that, how
Sure.
did that happen?
Basically in like 2006, right before the crash happened, I had my kind of 6-month process of developing your core values, a life plan, and a business plan.
Okay.
It's not just a business plan. People start planning right now for the future, and they think it's about numbers. If you take it back a step and say, what's my purpose? It changes the whole entire goal you have. So
Yeah, what do you want?
Yeah.
Like the why. Like people talk about it all the time. There's a lot of different ways to name it, right?
Yep.
But go ahead.
Yeah, so I would say it was about a 6-month process to identify my core values, my life plans, and also one thing we did, which was kind of unique, was one of the first activities is your eulogy about yourself.
I know. I've seen this.
So it's like a shock.
Yeah.
It's a shock thing. Being a younger guy, I was like 30 years old, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm writing my eulogy right now. I have hopefully a lot more time left." But that just kind of also puts things in perspective. What do you want to be remembered by? So all those kind of things combined allow me to have a passion for this industry. I love helping people. I love being a coach. I do take it a little bit emotionally when I don't get to help a client. Because
Sure. I do too.
Because the bank loses money to do a loan or whatever. That hurts my feelings, but I can't. I have to be careful and know that that's happening for a reason in my life, and that's okay.
Legacy is very important to you. It sounds
Absolutely.
like.
Yeah, that's one of the words I use a lot.
The newer, with Zoe being newer to the family and Charlie.
Yeah.
It's very important. So
Yeah.
that's, I mean, it sounds so simple, but it's so hard, right? You got to get the core values, and then you have to stick to it.
Yep.
Right? What do you do? What are you doing to stick to the values? Not letting that negative
Absolutely.
in that doesn't meet your needs.
You just gotta calendar the most important things in your day. I got to do a better job of getting in shape, spending more time with my family. You're always trying to improve those things. So I look at it as, while my values are strong, I can always hopefully improve on my goals. Right? Maybe my health is at the lowest bucket right now. I need to get that up. I'm always trying to improve all those steps so that overall I'm doing better in all the buckets. And that's just kind of a whack-a-mole hitting target thing, right?
Yeah.
The finances are good. I'm trying to balance the time with a new family. And I'll, at the same time, make sure that I'm healthy and making healthy decisions to have longevity in what I have. So that's my goal. And what's ironic, 4 years ago, my wife and I moved from a market that I was in for 15 years. We picked up, bought a house 75 miles away. I knew one person, my brother-in-law, who's a dentist.
Yeah.
No one else in the county that we're in now. Was able to pick up my business and move for a lifestyle trade-off. We're 6 houses from the elementary school. So when my kids are old enough, I can actually walk them to school. We're 2 blocks from the ocean. My wife says it's like 4 blocks, but it's 2. We're really close to the ocean. There's a golf course maybe a half mile away from my house.
Are you a big golfer?
No. I'm more like a have beers and put the music
It's
on.
probably good because I'm a big golfer. I'll talk your ear off all day. But
Nice. So anyways, we made this move. So it was a lifestyle move. So that was part of our
that was a big
life plan.
risk, right?
Heck yeah.
And
Didn't know
you
anybody.
you went all lifestyle on that.
Yeah.
Right?
Picked up and moved and said, you know what? I can recreate this. I've done about 4,400 loans in my career. So I have a pretty good database of people that I have had connections with. And I thought to myself, this is a great opportunity for me to humble down or humble up, whatever you want to call it, and really set myself up for the future and the community that I'm going to be part of. So I went from a big marketplace down to a small marketplace. And
How long ago was that again?
4 years.
All right, so that was 4 years ago. All right, let's get back to your timeline because now I'm curious. So 4 years ago, you guys moved. When did you open up All Cal, or do you want to keep going with the timeline? We just went to
let's
2011. Yeah, let's go right to that.
You want to go to 2011?
Yeah, let's go 2011 and where you went after that.
Sure. So again, Gene got sick. Unfortunately, he passed away, and it wasn't the same without him in the office I was in. We were the number 4 producing team in the entire country for the second largest bank in the country. So that was exciting, great. At the end of the day, I didn't feel better about being a top producer because I didn't get, when you do like 40 or 50 loans a month, you're not getting to go to all the signings. You're not getting to go to all the things that are important. You lose a little bit. So I became a figurehead versus an influencer or a personal advisor in people's lives. And so I took a step back and said, you know what, that's not I don't want to go down that road, even though I'm going to make more money. It's not the road I want to go down. So I made the switch, and then I worked for 2 small independent mortgage companies based in one was based in the East Bay in California, and one was based out of Sacramento.
Like a correspondent type feel? Okay.
Yeah. And the last one I worked for had great core values, and that was what attracted me to them. They were the underdogs that were number 1 in their marketplace. They had some cool things that they were doing, and I respected the leadership. The founder of that company was one of the most famous guys in the industry, and he was my replacement for Gene. He was the guy that I looked up to and said, this guy I believe in. He's a pathfinder also. I'm going to follow his advice and what he's doing in his perspective. It got to a point where about 2 years ago, there was this buzz about mortgage brokers, right? This buzz came back, and I'm like, okay, I've seen this before. 2003, 4, and 5, I saw that.
You're skeptical.
I was skeptical because it's like, is it going to be the same thing again where it gets kind of accelerated and then turns off? Because in that time frame, I believe mortgage banking or mortgage brokering was only 6% of the overall volume. Yeah, it was small relative to the big banks.
I got in 2011. I never even saw a broker. I was a guy like, can't go to a broker, large fees. I had no idea what was going on. I never saw it. Yeah. So it's interesting to hear it from you that saw the first wave and coming back in.
Yep, and that was also a greedy wave. When you're making 6 points on a deal with a prepay for 5 years and things like that, there were just some things that I could get better.
Feel good about.
No, I could get better pricing as an employee of a company through a broker going back to my employee versus getting a loan through that employer. Yeah. That's how crazy the market was, right? Yeah. And so, anyways, 2 years ago, this buzz started happening, and I was like, okay, I'll follow this a little bit, and then reconnected with an old friend of mine, Ramon Walker.
Right. Yep. Shout out Ramon.
Yeah, Ramon. There you go. And I was like, wow, okay, Ramon's doing really well in this. I'm excited for him. He had been in it for 5 years. Things are going well. He's one of the top people in Scotsman Guides and making some good market movement. And I was like, okay, I'm going to follow Ramon. I'm going to watch his stuff. I'm going to talk to him a little bit, get an idea what's happening. And I started to get really more interested in the social media element also, which I really am thankful. That's why I'm here, because I thought AIM did such a good job for me, helping me understand that this channel is real and that there's collaboration and that there's a unified effort to make this a permanent change. Yeah. And that's why I'm here, because I saw those things happening. And so about 6 months ago, an opportunity came up with Ramon and I to team up together. Cool. And that was one of the best things I could have done, is stay humble, to know that I don't know all the answers. Even though I've done a lot more loans than Ramon in my career, that doesn't matter. This is a new segment for me. This is a new channel. Sure. I'm going to stay humble. I'm going to stay a learner.
Well, one of your values probably is that, so you're staying in that.
Yep,
no matter the age or experience of someone else. Doesn't matter.
You treat everyone the same way, too. That's everything. So Ramon and I teamed up. He helped get me, I would say I saved probably 5 years of ramp-up time by Ramon and I. It was like dog years. It was like every month was like a year. And what was exciting about that is I'm about 70% purchase. Okay. Because I believe that's the most important way to create a consistent paycheck. Yeah. So I was like, oh my God, all my business partners are going to freak out. But we actually, in the first 45 days, closed 38 loans, and about 70% of them were purchase.
Cool.
So we did not miss a beat there, and that was an encouraging sign.
Mm-hmm.
In California, to get licensed for your own brokerage, it's a little different process.
It is. There's like 2 different licenses,
Yep,
right?
There's 2. There's the Cal BRE, which is actually a real estate license.
Right, that's what I've heard.
So it's really weird.
It's weird, man.
Yeah, you have to get your
seen
real estate license. And then, so when you get your real estate license, you have to tell all your realtors, I'm not doing real estate. So but that was a good conversation to have. Being like, hey, I'm not doing real estate, but I have to get this to be in a better position to give you better service and client.
I mean, you would think they would almost want that. Now you're more knowledgeable on their end. And
exactly.
blah, blah, blah.
Helping them out when they need help. And then the other element is the Department of Business Oversight. And that one can take anywhere from 6 months to a year.
Whoa.
Somehow I got that done in 65 days.
Nice.
And that was the hardest thing I've ever done in my career.
The Jimmy Black charm you put on him?
I don't know. Didn't work. Didn't work
Either
very
way.
well. Yeah.
But this is six months ago?
Yeah, 6 months ago. And
so that's when All Cal was started,
All Cal
right?
was started then, yep.
6 months ago.
Yep. And
Cool.
then we just
Love
turned
this.
on we just opened our doors about 60 days ago because I got my
Whoa.
other license. So
Okay.
it's been, I would say I was a hybrid.
Oh, so you're running hard right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's been exciting. So, I think sometimes in life, if you have one thing to do, you don't get it done. But if you have 10 things to do, you get 15 things done.
Yeah.
Right? It's just the law of like multitasking.
Yeah.
And so that's what's been exciting is I've always thrived in complexity and having more challenges thrown at me. I'm kind of getting tired.
Yeah.
But it's been worth every ounce of energy I've spent to it because in the long run, it's going to give me that legacy that I want to have and give my family more resources and give myself more time.
Yeah.
That's why I'm doing this. And I'm sure you're on this podcast doing this because you have that same passion.
I mean, this is great.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I don't see it. I'm sure you're tired. I mean, you had a kid 3 months ago. I mean, you just started a business 6 months ago, but really have been licensed for 60 days.
Yep.
Like you're running hard. Like I don't see it, man. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm not BSing you. Like, so Ramon had helped you get to where you're at,
Absolutely.
right?
Yep.
He was just another mentor because he owns his own spot. You guys don't have a full.
I was under his brokerage, and we're still collaborating. I don't know
Cool.
what that's going to look like in 60, 90, 120 days from now. We're still figuring out, even at that AIM event in Vegas, we were still figuring out what this looks like in the future because we have opposite models, which is really awesome. I am old school, realtor-based, referral-based, 70% purchase.
Yeah.
He is lead acquisition, lead generation, Googles, the Facebooks, all the different bells and whistles to attract more of the volume side of things.
Two different
things.
Well, that's what's cool about this channel now too is everyone's in it together. You can feel it. Like that's not BS. Like that's real.
Yep.
Like everyone's trying to help each other out. There's not really any competitors. I have my buddy Evan Wade. He's in the Philly market. Paul Carson. We're like a couple miles from each other. We never step on each other's toes. Evan helped me big time. He was like a Ramon to me.
Yep. Getting
in this industry. So it's really cool how that's, and I hope it stays that way.
Absolutely. And I do I do believe too, investing in those people that have strong cultures and markets, right? So my hope is that AIM will invest in key individuals throughout the country that are doing things the right way, that have good cultures, have good core values, and use those mentors or leaders as ways to develop the channel. Because the worst thing that we could have happen is a bunch of my people like myself coming from retail trying to do this all on their own and not seeing the bigger picture that if you don't stay humble, you're going to fail miserably. So I just think that that's a way that everyone should go. There should be some type of mentorship program for like 6 months.
Oh, I like that. Have you talked to Casa about that?
No. I'm sure it's on one of his 2,000 things to do in the next
sure,
24
right?
hours. Yeah.
No, but that's a really, really good idea. I mean, as I'm sitting here, I'm looking at you, what you've done. You've had your mentors. I had my mentors. I'm like, I think I'm going to call Jim in about a month and see if he'll mentor me. I'm sure you'd be cool to take a convo. Same
Absolutely,
here. I mean,
absolutely.
there really should be something like that, and it probably is in the works, I would say.
Yeah, it'd be great because that also like Andy Harris. I'll give him a shout out too.
Andy,
Mr. Compliance.
Wham.
Like, he's I don't know him very well, but we've had a couple conversations, and it's just like just finding like-minded individuals that want to give back. It's huge. It's such a big thing that we all can share. We can all learn together. Cooperation is one of my favorite words. If you think about your team, if you have loan officers that work with you, they're competing for business also. But I look at it as a collaboration, and if you can create a cooperation type of mindset,
cooperation.
I
I like
right?
that.
You're going to basically get the most out of helping everyone. You're going to raise the level of quality in your marketplace with professionals. And at the same time, you're going to be able to all know that if you lose a deal to someone that you like and admire, that's okay because the client's being taken care of.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I'm big in my market that I'm in is like there's 3 leaders and I respect them all. So if I'm not going to, if I lose a deal to them, I'm happy. It's not losing a deal. It's
but it doesn't happen much anyway.
Yeah.
Have you? I mean, it just
Not very
doesn't.
often. Yeah,
not very often.
Not very often.
And that's not to go back to Andy. He is so consumer, not based in terms of leads, but he's always looking out for the consumer. That's got to be one of his values. Is whatever's good for the consumer.
Absolutely.
And he's not going to waver from that, which is awesome in my opinion.
Absolutely.
So how many loans, to get back to get a little bit more into the nitty and the gritty?
Sure.
60 days ago is when you got your LO license, but you've been open about 6 months. What's your operation look like right now?
Sure.
Is it just you? If you want to give some shout outs,
I'd be happy. I'd be happy to share. So I'm very lucky to have a great core group of operations professionals. I take the approach of taking people that have good values and what they stand for and being quality people and being eager to learn and grow. I'd rather have those guys come work with me and work with, not for me. I'm big on that. It's with each other. That's the name of the game. We're a team. I'm only as good as my weakest link. So my goal is to empower people to make decisions. So I have 2 processors that handle all of our transactions. They're both getting their license. One already has their license. Good job, Chaz. And Ella's getting hers soon. And that's just another bandwidth play for me to be able to feel okay about having to lock a loan or have a conversation with someone when I'm meeting somebody or at a signing. They can take up that slack and do that. So that's my operations team.
Cool.
I then have 7 loan officers that work with me. So we have seven loan officers that have a lot of experience. They're mainly purchase mindset also.
Cool.
So we have a very good team for the marketplace we're in. It's also important for me to know that if you grow too big in your segmented market, you could lose your core values. You could lose some of the culture around things. You could actually be harming your team. So when I interview somebody,
it's a fine line, man, right?
How big is too big? And when's enough, right? So I'd rather get the people that believe in me the most reward and the most value that I can versus just having the number 1 branch or number 1 team in the area. So I'm big on making sure that their values are most important. Like
awesome.
One of my teammates, Zoe, one of her goals is to move to Santa Cruz from San Jose. Like that's her goal. So I'm going to get her that goal.
And you named your daughter after Zoe?
No. Yeah,
I kid.
Yeah, that would be a little odd.
That'd be a little weird.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, my wife would not be. Too excited about that.
No.
But I just believe that if you're investing in your team and you put them in front of your own goals, you're going to have a great outcome, a great legacy to live from. And that's what Gene and some other mentors have done in the past. And then again, I'm growing my team in the South Bay. So the South Bay represents about, I think, close to a million households.
Okay.
That's everything from San Francisco south to Monterey. And Ramon is in across the bay. He's 75 miles away. So we kind of have this really cool dynamic where I'm from his market, but we're not in the same market anymore. So I can help him grow.
Are you seeing people move out of that San Francisco?
Absolutely.
Because it's tough to live there, right?
Yep.
High cost of living.
Yep.
So, and are they moving south to the spot that you're?
No comment.
I mean, who knows?
No,
No. But who knows? But you're saying it. This is just a general question that I'm just curious about.
I'd follow the U-Haul trucks. I'd follow the one way where they go. That's where people are going. It's Texas. It's Colorado. It's still areas outside of California. Our average price point in the market I'm in is $900,000. Our average household income is the second lowest in the state. It's $72,000.
I mean, that's facts right there.
Yeah, so you can't. It's really hard to qualify.
Yeah.
So
wow.
Yeah.
So you're the team that you have. Did they follow you from the old spot that you're at? Were you laying the groundwork? I don't know how deep you want to dive into that, but
sure.
I'm really impressed that 6 months and you have 7 loan officers with you already.
Sure. So I believe that people make their own decisions.
Okay.
No one had to follow me anywhere. No one had to do. They all make their own decisions for their families and what they're about. So I went, did my thing. I let people know that I was leaving the company I was at, doing something new, and they all interviewed with that new company and Ramon to see if it was a good fit for them.
So you had Ramon interview as well.
Yeah, that's important because I'm big on everyone makes their own choices. And again, I'm okay. I've had plenty of loan officers in the past that are successful, like doing $50 to $100 million of business, that no longer work with me.
Right.
because they found a better opportunity, and I'm okay with
That's
that.
okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Right.
So, so I think everyone made a good choice for their career so far, and so that's one of the hardest challenges I would say in our industry is like benefits, for example. Like that's my number one pet peeve is benefits, like making sure my team has benefits.
Okay.
I don't want them to have anything happen to their health or their family. And I feel very responsible about that. So gone through like 6 months of investigating the best benefits for them. And that's one thing that I hope we can do as an industry, really get our hands around a better way of handling that. I know that
I agree.
that would be a huge thing that I'm looking for next year. I know some lenders are stepping up, like UWM, to help us with that.
There's an open enrollment coming, I think, end of November, maybe I saw.
Yep. And those are all great things that I love companies like that are giving us resources to support our growth, support what we need to be successful. And they're going all in with us and not kind of being a half in, half out. They're really trying to do everything they can do to enhance our experience, which enhances the customer's experience and makes it
It's a long-term play.
Absolutely.
You can't be too short-term in this, right? Yep. You got to see it out there and set it and trust it. That's the hardest thing in this industry, I think, is not just trying to get the easy grab, the easy money grab. You have to, like you said, you see your future, you have your core values, and you're putting it in place and trusting it. That's tough, man. That's impressive to me.
Yep.
That's great. Yeah, my benefits, I'm thinking now of $1,500 a month, just for health insurance.
Yep.
Is what it is. Let's get into something a bit more fun.
Sure.
We were talking before this, and I'm a little PO'd about it that you have a bus, and I'm the Huss bus, and I don't have a bus yet, right?
Yep.
Can we talk about the marketing side, because you love having fun with this, right?
Yep.
And you're a people guy. This is what you like to do.
I love people. It gives me energy. So my whole career has been about, if this is the way everyone's going with the grain, I want to go against the grain.
I love that. Yep.
Right? I want to go against the grain. I want to stand out. I want to be unique. I want to be different, because that's me, life, right? Like I'm going to be who I am, and people can love that or not like it, but I'm going to be who I am. And so what I did about 4 months ago is I bought a bus, and I didn't know what I was going to do exactly with the bus, but when I came home and put it in the driveway, it's 40 feet long, holds 22 passenger seatbelt. It has a handicap elevator thing on the back and like doors. It's really cool.
Yeah, nice.
And my wife's like, "What the heck is this thing doing in her driveway?" My daughter loved it. She's like, "Dad, that bus, Dad, that bus."
Yeah, right.
But so I was like, "Okay, I got this bus. What's the next thing I'm going to figure out here?" So it took me a while to figure out if I was going to wrap it or what I was going to do. And so what I did was I hired a local artist. His name is Jeremiah Killy.
Cool.
He's a famous surfboard shaper and very famous artist in our area. And I reached out to him and I'm like, "Dude, this is your bus to make your canvas if you want to do it." It took him like a month to figure out what he wanted to do. He's like, "Okay, I'm in." So he painted the bus with his own artistic stuff.
I saw a pic. It's really cool.
Yeah,
cool.
It's pretty cool. And so what I'm doing with that is I'm using that for a lot of recognition in our area. It's going to be called like Follow the Bus or some hashtag. I'm still working on that up, but
can't use Huss bus. That's mine.
no, you get that. Yeah,
thanks.
maybe we'll do like the West Side Huss Bus.
Whatever, man. I love it.
Anyways, so my goal is to put that out there for open house events, for special events, community events, charities, and then client appreciation. And what a lot of people don't realize is that you have to be really careful when you work with realtors. Anything of value, you need to make sure
RESPA.
You got to make sure it's compliant. Some people in the market I'm in don't understand anything of value. That means
That's every market, man.
Yeah, if you buy a drink for someone, that is a thing of value. If you give cookies at an event, there's a thing of value. So what I'm doing with the bus is I'm actually going to be charging realtors to be on the bus. And then what we're going to do is basically roll that out. And on the bus, they'll go on a tour of the houses, or if it's an event or a CE credit thing. And then at the end of the bus ride, I'll be collecting the funds to make sure that it's RESPA compliant again. And I'll be doing something of my own money that's not tied to that to be able to give back to a charity event. At the end of the bus ride, we're going to raffle out of a hat, because you can raffle a chance winning for the ability to give out a charity. So, for example, if there's 20 people on the bus, realtors, not realtors, clients, whoever, name we pulled out of the hat, I'll have a big check in the back of the bus ready to go.
Oh, one of the big checks?
Big checks,
Cool,
yeah.
like
a big check, all Cal check. And maybe your bus will be on there too.
All right. Take it.
And basically be able to give that to a nonprofit charity just as a way to give back something. Because
love it.
what we do, we have to, it all circles, it's all 360 in my opinion. If you're just looking about taking something, that's not life. You give back something, you make it better than you found it.
Karma, right? I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm just starting that out. It's a great time of year to do that for the holidays, right? People that are a little less fortunate.
This is brand new. You just kind of got the bus, right?
Yep.
And got it, so it's ready to roll. How
It's ready
many
to
how
go.
many trips have you had? Have you had
Only
any
three.
yet?
Only 3.
That's still, I mean, that's
maiden,
still a lot.
Yeah, maiden voyage was a little shaky. It was
Yeah.
a wine trip with a bunch of friends, so it survived.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Wine country, man.
Yeah.
That's where you're at, right?
Yep.
All right, so you have the bus. That's cool. I love that we're talking. We're not getting in deep with mortgages. That's not what this is all about.
Yeah.
That runs itself. But do you have a podcast as well, or
I do.
You mentioned that. I
Yeah,
wanna know
so
more
I'm
about
lucky. I'm lucky. I got Jason Frazier is a dear friend of mine. I've known him for
Shred Media?
Yeah, I've known him for 10 years. So like Ramon,
Mm-hmm.
like other people, I've been following these guys, and I've seen Jason grow exponentially also in the last 10 years. So
Good dude.
it's all really good stuff, and that's another reason why I joined. So Shred interviewed me for 3 podcasts on the Mortgage X originator platform about being a new broker. They're each 25-minute segments. I thought they were. Jason asked a lot of good questions, and AFR, Home Point, and UWM sponsored them. So thank you again, and AIM also.
Yep.
Thank you guys for that opportunity. But I'm big on giving back. So I'm looking forward to this being a kind of a starting point to really do something more to help AIM, to help other brokers, to help other retail guys trying to figure out if they should be part of a team or start their own team or company. And I do believe that this is the future. This made a difference for me. Like these activities, social media posts, comments, all those things made a difference. I don't know how Anthony has any time in his life.
Yeah, right. Well, he sleeps in his suit. That's the word on the street. Or he has suit pajamas or something.
Is he sponsored by Monster or Red Bull? I don't know which one.
Either one.
Check out through his tattoo or something.
Yeah,
Anyways.
right.
But I just look at it as there's a bunch of us that are coming together, and it's going to be exciting in 5 years to see what we've done.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are. I like to think long term, and I think a lot of the guys that are doing this, like yourself and Andy and Anthony and Ramon, and a ton of others, we're all thinking long term. This is not a quick cash in and sell yourself out. It's, hey, I'm investing for the future, and we're lucky to have this segment of lenders and institutions and companies that are supporting us, and they believe in that value. We're like the last of the Mohicans in loan originations.
That. Yeah.
Think about
real.
it, right?
This is the future. I mean, what I see personally is you have the bigger banks. They're just not going to go away. They have a lot of money to throw at it, and we get that. Those middle type lenders, they might have some struggles. You know, they have some upper management they have to pay. Listen, we could talk about this all day. But then you have these smaller type brokers that are super consumer friendly, and there's just going to be 2 different types of businesses. So I don't think we're going to be here for the long haul.
Agreed.
I don't see any other way. I'm super excited that I took the leap as well. No doubt. Now, in your business, if we dive into that a bit more, are you producing still?
I am a producing leader.
Okay.
I happen to be the top producer also.
Okay.
That has a lot of challenges in itself. This first 6 months experience, I've kind of not focused on that as much, which is hard because if you're a hunter, you want to go get more.
Yeah.
You want to help as many people as you
nature.
can help, right? But I've put that to the side a little bit, but I'm now ramping that back up now that daughter's born and everyone's healthy at home, and that's going to be a ramp up thing for me this last quarter. So my goal this year is to close $70 million.
Nice.
I'm at about 55 million right now. So, and again, I'm very lucky to have large loan sizes where I am. They're harder, more competitive deals, but it's nice to have larger loan sizes. So,
is there a unit number goal that you have?
Yeah, about 125 to 130.
Okay. Nice. No, it's perfect.
So average loan size is like 500 to 550 roughly.
Now, since you just started, this is all still fresh, but what struggles? Is there any like 1 or 2 things you could say to prepare someone for that they just started?
Absolutely. Think simply when you start.
Okay.
It's great that I have 41 investors approved. It would have been a nightmare if I tried to use all of them at the same time.
Yeah.
So start simple. Go to your core products, go to your core relationships, build your foundations first, and then start building extra stories on the house, so to speak. I got lucky that I used Calyx Point. It's the most simple way of originating, I believe. I'm using that process along with Experian Credit
Okay.
to help me just make it very simple. Everyone uses the same provider, so
Simple's key when you
I'm going to
start.
keep it simple. I have an app which is great. I use Be in Touch.
Okay.
I'm using the simple tools that are not creating a lot of chaos or a lot of time sucks for me right now. So I believe you start out that way, just basic products, and then go from there and get more exotic. Do bridge loans, do reverse mortgages, all that stuff. In my first 30 days, I closed 3 reverse mortgages also.
Yeah, we did one. I've never done one
Yeah.
before, and we did one the first 60 days.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
nuts.
yeah, so they're just, again, stay with your core. Stay in
Okay.
the fray of opportunity. Stay where you're going to get the most. I would say this to anyone even going into a new marketplace. Go after where the opportunity is.
Okay.
You know, if there's only one house at $2 million, but all the other activity is at 750, get in the 750 realm because that's where all the activity is happening. So again, I would just simplify the process. Surround yourself around supporting characters that are willing to adapt and grow. I'm really hesitant to hire processors that are over 10 years in the industry. No offense to any of them.
Sure.
But they have habits that limit them on being able to grow and expand.
And this is a
mold.
constant
Yeah.
from talking to other guys. It's the same thing.
Yeah. So my 2 processors have been in the industry less than 5 years each.
Okay.
But they're moldable. They want to learn. They want to grow. They want to adapt. So I'm willing to spend all the time and energy to make them successful. They already have more experience or similar experience to processors have had before that had 20 years experience. Because I believe our environment's also about portals. Portal lenders, right? You're uploading things here. You're sending things here. There's systems over here you got to log in. So you're jumping into a company portal, jumping out. Jumping into another company's portal, jumping out,
Yeah.
right? You got to be able to understand how those kind of intricacies work and also have the intuition to be able to know how to do the next step without having someone there showing you every way
Sure.
to do it. So the proactive mindset around that.
Yeah, so keeping it simple
Absolutely.
is one of the big things. Because you've probably seen it. You tried to, let's go this way a little bit, and then chaos ensues, and you're like, all right, so we have to
Yep.
get back. So that was maybe one of the struggles. You tried something. Well, you have to try things.
Absolutely.
But you're bringing it back to simple, and I would say quality, too.
Absolutely.
Like quality over, when you're starting out, you want it all. I get it, right? Well,
Yeah.
how our minds
Yep.
work, like a hunter. But you can't ruin your reputation. Quality, what I've seen as well.
Absolutely.
Right? Would you agree with that?
100%. Yep. And how many people on your team? Do you have your
So
team?
right now it's myself and my younger brother.
Okay, cool.
And then my sister's boyfriend, Jake.
Okay.
So we're real nice and small, but we're looking to hire, but I'm being very selective.
Yep.
I have to. And I've always been it's been myself for 9 years. So I'm having some struggles trying to, who am I going to hire? How are we going to scale this the right way or stay where we're at? But I also have my brother, Nicky. He's like my processor, loan officer assistant, licensed. He wants to go produce. So now I'm not worried about him, but I'm making sure we have some back end for him.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yep. Just building in your contingency plan around helping more and building a backup plan around that. And I would say this, having gone through what you're going through, you're going to take one step backwards to take 2 forward. Just know it may harm you in the short run.
Yeah.
You might, like every time I hired a new LOA in the bank environment, I lost like $50,000. But then a year later, I made double that off that investment.
Well, that's the
So
long-term
that's the
play you
mindset,
keep
yeah.
talking about. You have to you have to trust it.
Yep.
I think that's tough for a lot of people in this
Absolutely.
industry. And you're seeing a lot of nothing wrong about this because we're still trying to figure out the broker world. But a lot of people are just diving in thinking, oh, we can make a lot more money as a broker. It's not. There's expenses. There's a lot of different things involved. What do you say to those people that say, I'm going to be a one-man shop, you know, I have 5-6 years experience and just diving in? Like it's everyone, what I've talked to, anyone in retail, they say, oh, 275 bips. That's all that's in their head.
Right.
It's not like that.
Yep.
So is there something you could tell people that are just jumping right in?
Sure.
Small man shop.
If it sounds too
woman.
good to be true, it probably is, right?
Yeah.
Also, I always use 2 lenders when I'm communicating to borrowers. Hey, we can make this process the Nordstrom's experience, or we can make this thing be a nightmare.
I like that.
A nightmare. Here are the options. You choose, consumer, what you want to go through. Do you want the lowest rate, or do you want the experience? And when you let them choose between 2 of your choices, guess what? You win either way.
It's the beauty of being a broker, right?
Yeah.
You can give options.
Exactly. If you lead with one product only, they're going to use that one product and go look around other options for that one same product. So I believe you create an approach just like kids having them eat vegetables. Give them choices. Let them choose between carrots and peas. And when you do that, they're going to eat what you want to eat no matter what. So I look at that as I'm always trying to give a couple options that are customized. You know, Matt Ishbia talks about a lot with being able to offer a 3.82 mortgage versus a 3.875. Finding a way to be creative, finding a way to be unique and stand out. And if you can do that, you have a much better chance about it not being about rates. Find the voids in their life. Find the things that they need help, the tools that you can help them with.
Get to know them on a personal level.
Exactly.
Do you go pretty deep with your clients?
I try to.
Yeah. Well, it's hard, but...
Yeah, I try my best. What I try to do, I use a page 5 of an application.
Yeah.
It's the old Todd Duncan thing from 2002.
Sales mastery,
Yep. And I find the voids. I don't like innovation and automation in our industry. I don't like that you get a waiver for this, waiver for that. I want to collect the things and make sure that I find the gaps that are in things that they're missing that they need. If they need a trust attorney or they need a CPA or they need a wealth advisor, I want to find those gaps. And every day that goes by where it becomes more automated, I lose that ability because I'm not collecting that document. Or that question that I'm asking is not as relevant. But I'm still trying to stick out there and be that different person.
That's interesting because a lot of the successful people that I speak to, they're trying to automate a certain piece, but it always goes back to that, like getting down and dirty with the client, finding out their needs, and not having the automation. That's interesting, and we have to keep that because if it gets too automated, then the quickens will come in, the robots will be
where's
there.
our value, right?
Where's our value? But it's also not even for us; it's for the actual client.
Yep.
Because no robot's going to be able to take away that type of emotion you can have with a client.
And that's why I named my company All Cal Financial.
Yeah, can you tell us how you did that?
Yeah.
Or why you did that? Oh, there they are. Nice.
So All Cal Financial, I believe that I'm in California. I want to do all things I can to help people. And it's a financial decision, the largest financial decision in life. This is it. We have that ability to talk to these people and get to be in that most intimate moment besides getting married, having kids, or death, or whatever, to help them make good decisions. So my goal, the first step in my company plan is to have a robust mortgage company like I've had for a long time, but then add in services that I don't need to get rewarded for, but that give value and create a life experience and a life event mindset. So we're going to have a wealth advice piece. We're going to have that built in the next 6 months to 8 months. That. So we can offer a financial plan or a wealth plan or some type of roadmap to help them because we get to ask any question to a consumer when they get
and that might not be our strength. So let's put something in place that we know they need.
Correct. So I'm trying to develop that right now. It's a couple extra licenses, there's a couple extra regulators that we're dealing with, but I believe that that's the way to stay unique, add value, and then it's about life events. It's not about rates dropped an eighth, I want to refinance you.
That's
it's
a really
about
good point.
It's about, hey, my kids are saving for college savings plan, Jim. You helped them with a strategy 15 years ago, and now they get to go to their college of choice. Or, hey, you know what, Jim? This reverse mortgage that we talked about 3 years ago, we're ready to execute on now because we've made that choice to stay in our house forever. Those kind of things are what I want to be part of. I don't need to do like 400 units a month. I want to be able to look someone in the eye and know that I made a difference in their life.
That's cool.
And that's the way I look at our industry. So again, I'm more of a localized resource. I probably won't be doing loans in New Mexico or Texas, but
we're only PA right now. I'm just staying nice and simple for now,
Yeah.
All right, so as we wrap up here, I have two good questions. I think where do you see the industry? Where do you think it's going to be in the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years? Because things are moving rapidly. Where do you see it? Have you thought about that?
Absolutely. I believe that there are companies making long-term investments with our channel right now. Like one of the companies rolled out a great marketing platform in the last 2 weeks. Again, UWM.
Brand 360, I think.
Yes,
right?
one of those things. Or other companies like HomePoint that are making investments strategically in our market to serve us better, to help us, give us more resources and tools. They're all in with us. They don't have a retail division that they're going to hedge their bet on. So I'm seeing companies now that are investing money up front that I respect. I'm very loyal. So I do see that very easily in certain investors we work with. I also see that in the ease of systems that they work with. Some companies are just throwing a bunch of things together and offering you a lower rate but that experience is horrendous.
Correct.
They're not doing the hard thing now. They're not biting off more of the cost of that now to make that experience better. So I believe that we're going to see a segment where the top 3 or 4 wholesale lenders will get more market share. I do believe some of the half in, half out guys will probably not be doing this anymore.
Correct.
In the wholesale realm. And I do believe that it'll become a localized experience still. I do like this online surge that's happened. A lot of the low-hanging fruit of refinancing is there and available. But when we're in a purchase market...
still going to be local.
Exactly. It's got to be local. I used to do this exercise where I'd take a piece of paper, ask someone what they made, and say, okay, JP, how much of that was refinance volume? Oh, it's 70%. I take the piece of paper, rip off 70% and say, okay, here's your paycheck. What are you going to do now? How are you going to make this? How are you going to get back to being on top of your business? Refinances are a bonus. I look at them as a really nice bonus for my hard work, but I'm always staying focused on purchase. So like this next 30 days, I'll close 14 or 15 purchases. When it's seasonally normally pretty slow, but it's you got to stay on top of that. I've also reached out to the community, realtors. Everyone's busy with refinances. I'm focused mainly on your business. That's my goal. How can I support you? How can we meet for coffee? I'm not too busy for you.
That's what you like to do, too.
Yep.
Probably one of your core values, right, is you like to be speaking with clients and refinance. Yes, you can do a lot of cool things and help a family out, but the purchase is where it's at. That's what keeps you going.
Absolutely.
Even for you.
Absolutely.
Even it keeps your business going, but that keeps you going too, right?
And it's weird. Like the last 5 years, I've had within about 10 or 15% the same paycheck.
Yeah.
This year will be higher, but it's nice to know that
I'm not how consistent.
Yeah,
that
it's
can
just
be.
crazy. So, again, I believe that it's great to be built for speed and capacity, but in a changing market, we haven't seen that for a while. So some of the if I talk to Andy about it or other people like that, they are in the same mindset as me. Position yourself for the future, but make those investments now. Just like those wholesale guys are going to make investments in our channel, make your investments in purchase or new client acquisition, whatever that means to you. That's the focus. And make that happen. Right now is the best time to do that when everyone else is booked with refinances or they've made enough money this year and they're turning it off. This is the time to
keep going.
To get
never relax.
Share. Yeah.
Well, you probably just nailed it, but the last question I have for you is it's good. One thing you can tell, I guess, the whole broker nation or just a loan officer in general, something simple for their life or their business, something you can tell them, whether it's about the core values. Is there something you can give?
Sure.
Something quick?
Yeah, I would say that don't deviate from your plan. Things do not happen overnight. I got lucky doing 38 loans in the first 45 days, right? That was just really good timing, and luckily we had a good support system to do that. Follow your plan, live your plan, work your plan. When all these big events happen, you go learn about Buffini or someone else. Those are all great tools, but take one or two of those tools and see it through. A lot of people will not follow through on their commitments. Follow through on your commitments to your business, to your life plan, to your clients and your referral partners. And that's the best way. If I'm going to help this one person, I want to get 10 referrals from them versus help 10 people and get no referrals. Because if they know good people, I want to be working with those other good people that they know. And so have a plan, follow it through, and a result, 0 as a result is still a result. And that's okay as long as you recognize that you need to get better. Because every day you don't it's like sports. You either get better or you get worse. Take your pick. I'm going to try to get better every day. I'm going to leave it all on the field at the end of the day, and I'm going to try to turn it off. I'm trying to do a better job of that. We all are.
Right.
But that's my goal is just and I would say that to anyone, just have a plan, follow the plan, make subtle adjustments to it.
Nice. Well, there it is. Stay committed, right? And always try to be better.
Yep.
There it is. Jim Black, All Cal Financial. Thanks, man. That was awesome.
Yeah,
I'll be calling you in a month, man.
Let's
I got
get
to
on
pick
the
your
bus.
brain.
Let's go.
Cool. Thank you.
Take care.